statement a few days back that he wants to demolish you in front of your audience here in Abu Dhabi. What is your response?
I think you'll say Salam Alikum.
So if you guys have been paying attention to the UFC 308 Media Week and Khamzat Chimaev, it is quite evident that Khamzat Chimaev's personality seems to be a lot different than what it was in the past fights he's had. I saw a couple fans saying it might be the hair. I've also seen some comments saying that he doesn't have any aura anymore and that it's gone. But Khamzat did just release that he went through a deep depression, sickness, and then the sickness of his 1-year-old son having to get multiple surgeries, which is very unfortunate and no parent should have to go through that. But as a result of all the hardships that he's had to go through, it seems like he's been a lot more humble and calm. As you've seen in the intro video, I feel like the old Khamzat Chimaev would have definitely entertained the trash talk a little bit more. We might have seen some back and forth action between the two, but instead all he said was Salam Alikum, which means peace be upon you.
Впервые вижу очень сильный позитив вокруг тебя, и сам ты очень так улыбаешься, двигаешься. Что случилось?
Можно сказать, депрессняк пропал. Ну, были раньше много проблем, много чего решил. Слава Богу, все хорошо сейчас.
Ну, уже все хорошо.
Я тоже человек, у меня тоже бывают свои такие свои проблемы.
I also saw in an interview DC had with Khamzat, where he's actually acknowledging some of his potential opponent's skills. He was asked a question on how a potential matchup between him and Alex Pereira would go, and although he said that his wrestling would be a problem for Pereira, he also acknowledged that Pereira could knock him out on the feet as well, and called him one of the best strikers within the UFC right now. Old Khamzat Chimaev would have never done this. We've actually seen it where he's called out Alex Pereira, saying he's easy work and that he would submit him in one, and it's honestly a breath of fresh air to see him acknowledging his opponents. He's definitely going to need that against Robert Whittaker, because if it's one thing that Khamzat needs to desperately do for this fight, is to not underestimate his opponent in Robert Whittaker, because skill for skill and stylistically, this would be the hardest matchup for Khamzat. Over the years, Whittaker has probably developed the best counter wrestling style. I would say it's between him and Aldo, and we also have to keep in mind that Whittaker is much larger than the welterweights that Khamzat has struggled against. Although Whittaker was a former welterweight, he is no Burns, he is no Usman. He has taken the time to properly gain the weight and become a true middleweight. And that's something that Khamzat has not been up against, at least in the UFC. I know he's already had 2 fights in the middleweight division, one against Kevin Holland and the other against Kamaru Usman. But both of these opponents were on short notice and they weren't true middleweights. They're also not in the elite category like Robert Whittaker is. He's on the Mount Rushmore of his division. All I'm saying is that Khamzat shouldn't go into this fight thinking he's gonna finish it in round 1. And he needs to respect the threat that is in front of him. With that being said, I wish him the best of luck in his match at UFC 308. I really don't want either of these guys to lose. It's just one of those unfortunate situations that it just has to happen. It's a competition and somebody must come out on top. I kind of feel the same way for the main event, Max Holloway and Ilya Topuria. But that's gonna be all I have for you guys today. Let me know who you think comes out on top in this matchup against Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev in the comment section down below. Oh, and another thing, I will be hosting a watch party for UFC 308 this Saturday. If you guys want to stop in, I will be streaming both on YouTube and TikTok. I'll see you guys all there.